30 Minutes with Ron. Welcome. I'm Ron Gagliardi. I'm the host of 30 Minutes with Ron. And today we have an extra special guest. This gentleman is Cheshire's preeminent independent filmmaker. His name is Jim Hawk, but I'm not even going to show him to you yet because we want to share some of the posters and some of the names of some of his films and some of the places that they've appeared. Are you ready? Here we go. And we're back, and it's now time to meet the inimitable and the inevitable Jim Hawk. Jim, welcome.
Thank you.
It's so nice of you to be here.
I appreciate being here.
Well, it's so nice of you to be anywhere.
I don't even know if it's me after an introduction like that. It sounded like somebody else.
You didn't know what I was going to say, did you? All right, so you are an independent filmmaker.
Yes, sir.
How would you define independent filmmaker? How independent can you be?
Well, let's see. I can say that probably the best definition of an independent filmmaker is you're a starving artist.
Aha.
In other words, independent film is somebody that's not sponsored or funded by a larger organization, and you more or less do your own thing. Now, there are independent filmmakers that do have funding, don't get me wrong.
That's true.
When they make a good movie and it succeeds, the money will come.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to know a little bit about you. We know now already that you live in Cheshire.
Yes.
Okay, and you make films.
Yes.
All right. How did you get to this point? Where were you born? Why did you decide to be whatever you were before you were a filmmaker? How did all that happen? We need to know.
Wow. You know, I'm 73 years old, Ron. This story could take forever.
Well, kind of give us the capsule version.
Okay. Actually, I was born in Pennsylvania. And we moved to Ohio when I was very young. And I grew up in Ohio and went to college there. And then I went to work for a Fortune 500 company. And the reason I bring it up is because I wasn't making films at the time, but I was playing at the edge of that. There was a energy efficiency video that was done. I wrote the script for it, and I did the narration for it. But it wasn't until maybe 12 years ago that I got into filmmaking with earnest, because 12 years ago, things changed. Before 12 years ago, the cost of making films was absolutely astronomical. The cost of the equipment, the computers, the cameras and everything, it was just totally out of sight. It was done on film. Film is god-awful expensive. 12 years ago, the software, the cameras, and the computers came together at a point where literally anybody could make films in their office with no problem. And so 12 years ago I started, and it was almost kind of like a lark. My son was getting married, and I said, I'm going to shoot a video of your wedding. And he went, but I already hired a videographer. No, I'm going to want to do that just for giggles. And so I shot the video, and I came home and I looked at the footage and I went, boy, this is really bad. So, and the point was that you can't take raw footage and make anything out of it. You need to edit it. Well, I didn't know anything about editors, so I got an editor and I taught myself how to use it. And when I got done, I looked at this and I went, wow, that's really cool. I like that. You took this material that was just not very pleasant, and you made this really cool program out of it. So when I got done with that, I said, I like this. And I got a hold of the Cox Studio, and I took their course on how to run the studio equipment.
Right.
And right after that, Steven Spielberg came out with a TV program called On the Lot, which was a program that unfortunately had only made that one season, but they took these young filmmakers, or independent filmmakers, not necessarily young, and every week they would make a movie. And then the following week, the people would vote on them, and one person would be eliminated and get down to the one which would be the winner. Well, I didn't even get selected. But
pain.
no, Ron, that's not the bad.
Oh, that's not the bad.
The good thing was that was my first film. That was so cool. I enjoyed that. And what I did was, being my first film and not being familiar with the processes and all that sort of stuff, I didn't know actors, I didn't know camera people, I didn't know any of that thing. So I did as much as I possibly could do myself. But I couldn't be an actor, I needed an actor. Well, how can you do a movie if you don't have actors? Well, how about if you do a movie with one actor? And so what I did was I came up with a script of The Last Man on Earth.
Perfect
and I
sense.
made the movie.
Yeah.
And when it was done, I was happy as could be. And after that, there was another one called Our World Order. And then after that, I went to work on an informal basis for the Connecticut Film Industry Training Program. And I hooked up with a guy, Greg Nutcher. And from there, we made more films. And the moral to this whole story is every film got better than the last one. And here I am.
And that's always to be hoped for.
Yeah.
Now, as a matter of fact, I met Jim for the first time at the Cheshire Public Library. They were screening some of his films. And I had seen an article about him. I think that's when the Cheshire Herald had done the article about, just before that.
Right.
So I thought, I got to meet this guy. So I went to his screening, and I was very impressed with his films. And we talked about, possibility of have him come on the show. And now this has come to fruition. Now, you have just seen some of his posters for his film. I'm an artist. I'm not a really great artist, but I'm an artist, and I just am so impressed by those posters. Do you make those posters yourself?
Actually, I do.
And is it a computer program that you use, or are you just an amazing artist?
No, please. It's Photoshop all the way. You can take bits and pieces of pictures and manipulate them with Photoshop and color this and cut this out and put that together and put it on a piece of electronic paper, and there you are.
Well, you have a good eye.
Thank you.
You have great composition.
Thank you.
Great contents. And there's music. We heard music on some of your films, and I don't know if we heard music with what we've seen just previous to this.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
You know, I'm really glad you asked me that question. The first movie I made was Aleph, the one I told you about, the Steven Spielberg thing.
Yep.
And there was a young man from Scotland named Matt Milne who has a piece of music in that. I was so impressed with his music that I've used him for almost every single film that I've made since then. There are exceptions, but I try to use him as much as possible. And it even got to the point where I was feeling guilty because he's not even getting paid for this. Mm-hmm. And so I did a film not too long ago, and I went, oh, I can't ask him again. I can't do that. And then finally I got to the point where I said, well, I have to ask him. I said, Matt, would you do that? And he says, Jim, anytime you want, ask. He says, it's as simple as this. If I've got the time, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. If I don't, I can't.
Okay, now, how many films have you done approximately? It doesn't have to be exact, just approximately.
Maybe about 15.
15.
My guess.
Okay, now there's a website that's called IMDB.
Right.
And you told me earlier what that stands for.
Internet Movie Database.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in order to be on that, do you submit yourself, I assume? Or do they find out about you?
No, you submit yourself.
You submit yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so now when someone goes there and they type in your name, they see all of your films, some of the only the films you want rated or talked about?
Well, the selection process with IMDb is you don't just submit. Not anybody can just go there, submit a film, and have it come up.
Ah, darn.
It has to be.
I was going to go there.
Nobody will kill you for trying. But you either have to have had it at a film festival or had it shown someplace that they recognize and accept. So there's that. But yeah, you do submit it yourself. You tell them, okay, I'm submitting this on the basis of it showed at the Connecticut Film Festival, and they go, okay, we recognize that film festival. We will accept that and we'll put that on there. Right now, oh, and the other thing about independent filmmaker is you're everything. You're the cook, the bottle washer, the whole 9 yards. So with those 15 films or so, I have over 100 credits on IMDb. Well, I'm the director, I'm the producer, I'm the writer. So
it's easier to do it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now do people rate the films?
They can, yeah.
They can. Is it stars? Is that
it
5
is.
stars?
Yeah.
Okay, and when they do that, do you get a kind of like prestige because you've got such ratings and followers?
I don't know that there's any formal way for me to answer that. I mean, most of my films, it's a 10-star rating system. Most of my films are 7, 8, and 9 stars, and that's good.
Yeah?
That really is. Is there any prestige that comes along with that? Well, I feel proud about it,
right.
But I don't think I get anything out of it.
So now, let's say you're about to make a film. You want to make your next film. Do you have an idea for the film and then you write the script yourself, or
Yes.
do you talk with other people, or how does it work?
You exactly said it. I'm working on my next one right now.
Okay.
And I get an idea. I'll write a script, and then from there I'll go out and contact the people, the camera people, the producers, and collect that group of people together and make the film. This time I did something different.
Something different.
This time I started writing the script, and I said, you know, I'm not getting the recognition or the notoriety that I want to from this. Why don't I turn it into a book and see if I can get a little more traction from it that way? So the one that I'm working on right now, I said, well, it's going to be a film, but I'm going to release it as a book first, a short story, and then I'm going to make the film.
How did that go? Did it do well?
It's in process.
Oh, it's in the process.
Yeah.
But I know you have done some previously that way, you at least have things on Amazon or someplace where you can get ratings on stories that you've written.
Right,
And
right.
that's done well for you.
Yeah, so far, yeah.
Give us the title of a few of them.
The first one was To Beta Van Verden and Back.
To Beta Van
Verden,
Verden and back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Well, now see, I can't give away too much. I will tell you this without giving away too much of the story. Van Verden in Swedish is Waterworld. And that's all I'm going to tell you.
Ah, well, I can understand that you wouldn't want to tell me much more than that, because Van Verden is something you want to keep, going, yeah. It's kind of like Gwen Verdon.
Yeah.
Well, so no one knows who Gwen Verdon is now, but
Yeah, right.
she was a star back in the day. Okay. Oh, yes. I see your finger.
Yep. Because I want to say one thing about
right.
that. I put that book out there, and the producer, writer of the Dexter TV series gave it a 5-star out of 5-star rating.
Nice.
Nice. I was very happy with that.
So you must be pretty good.
Well, I think so.
Ah. How does your wife fit into all this? Or what does she think about all these things you do?
She hates it.
And why is that?
I don't know.
So she might be watching this,
Well, that's true. She might be.
Yes. Would
and
you
the fact that I said she hated, she will have no problem with me saying that.
Well,
she will agree.
Would you like to say something directly to your wife at this time that probably won't get you harmed?
No. I think I said enough.
I see. Okay. Well, it turns out that in addition to what we've seen previously, we have about a 4-minute special. That's a what is a time-lapse thing that you've done? That's in a what do they call this? In Rome, in a film festival. I knew if I kept on going, I'd get it eventually. Tell us about this. What's the title? What's it about?
Okay. The title. When you make a film, the conventional wisdom is the title is 1 or 2 words.
Uh-huh.
So I said, let's try something different. The title of this is called Winter Shadows on the New Snow and Wind in the Old Oak Tree. Just a few more than 2 words.
Yes.
Anyway, it's an experimental time-lapse film. And I was looking for a film festival to take it to. This happened about a week ago. And I was contacted by an art exhibit in Rome, Italy. And they said that they want that film to show at their exhibit later this year.
And so we're going to see that
Yep.
in its entirety.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our viewers can decide, well, this is a wonderful film, or we want to rate it something else. Where would they rate it? Will they see it someplace before it's in Rome?
No, I like that idea, actually. That's listed on IMDB.
Aha.
And you can go there and rate it, and I would seriously appreciate that. Because you need to have at least 5 votes before it gets a rating that's published.
Ah.
And so if they do that, that's great.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, here we go. I've seen this because you sent me a link, and I looked at it. I was very impressed. And I thought about one that I had done. I have in an old one of my cameras. I used to be a videographer, by the way, and I know something about video for events, but this particular camera had a time-lapse thing, and it would take one photo every, I don't know, minute or half a minute. So I did a blizzard from the window in one of our kids' bedrooms. And to watch just, the buildup of the snow, it was kind of like relaxing. And I kind of got a relaxing feeling from your film. Now, one of the things that's confusing to me is you had your films in all of these film festivals. Do you have a list of, all the ones around the world, and then you pick one? How does that work?
Well, I have one criteria for a film festival, that they don't charge an entry fee. That's all. So I look for film festivals that don't charge. Film festivals, this kind of is a little bit disturbing to me, are charging $50 to $100 to enter your film. And you could submit to 10, 20, 30 film festivals and never have a film shown. Well, you do the math. 20, 30 film festivals at $50 to $100.
That'll make you broke.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so is there a form? I'm assuming there's a form you have to fill out.
What you do is you render your film, of course, obviously. You put it on their website. You fill out all the specifications and the people, the cast, the crew, and all that have worked on the project. And then you submit it to these festivals, and if they accept it, then that organization that's keeping all this information provides the film to them.
Okay. Now, when you use the term called render. Now, maybe if you're a young filmmaker or even an old filmmaker, you know what that means. What does render mean?
When you edit a film, you're taking all the bits and pieces, the graphics, the video, the music, all that stuff, and you're putting it together the way that you want it.
Okay.
It's not a film. So then you go and you say to the program, okay, now I want you to render it. And what it does is it goes through pixel by pixel and all that sort of stuff and puts it together in the format of a film. That's called the rendering.
Rendering the film.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's possible that we may have some filmmakers who haven't done so much in the world of filmmaking, and they're looking at you as their mentor. You are now their TV mentor. What would you like to say to those folks? Give them some advice, give them some piece of information that they can really use.
Well, that's kind of a hard question to answer, but I got to tell you one thing.
All right.
This is a very extremely tough business, and because there's so much competition out there, and the people that succeed, quite frankly, are the people whose parents are already successful at it and that sort of stuff. So anybody that wants to do this, I have one piece of advice to you: persistence. Just keep going and don't quit. That's the single most important thing. And there's a lot of different levels or factors in that, but here's the thing you need to understand. Every film that you make is going to get better, and it's going to get better, and it's going to get better. And so you make 2 or 3 and you quit. You quit in the middle of your own process. You just keep going. It gets better, it gets better, it gets better. And somewhere down the road, hopefully, you're recognized and off you go.
Well, is there a computer program that you feel would be the most optimal one for students to use?
Well, the industry standard is Final Cut, which is an Apple program. But frankly, I'm a PC guy, so I use Premiere Pro. So there's that. There's a lot of editing programs out there.
And is there a piece of video equipment that you would recommend?
No. I'll tell you what, my philosophy on cameras, and it's beginning to change because things are beginning to stabilize. Camera technology is changing so fast that you'd go broke trying to keep up with it. So what I do with every project is I get a camera guy who owns his own camera. And he shoots it, he gives me the footage, I do the editing.
All right. Well, I see by the technician who's signaling me that we have about a minute left. I'm going to share one piece of information that I just found out about. There's a new kind of camera, at least to me, called a 360-degree camera. And a friend of mine just had one. He put it on his head, walked through a museum, and you can look from the top, the view, from the back, from all sides. It's an amazing thing. If you ever get a chance, check on that. And Jim, so good to see you. So nice of you to be on the show. And if you're lucky, we might have you on again.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for viewing. Happy day.